So let's talk a little bit about ratings. I know this is not everyone's favorite part of the evaluation process, but an important one, because ultimately this is all translated to a rating of a 1 to 5 in our evaluation system. Can you talk through a little bit of the different options that we have here in the ratings system?
Sure. As you mentioned, it's a 1 to 5 scale, and that 1 is unsatisfactory to 5, which is exceptional. And I think the biggest change is that 3 is effective. So 3 is really good. I mean, it's someone who turns up every day, does a good job, they're valuable, and good at what they do.
Right.
So,
we learned last year that was not always interpreted as effective, correct, in terms of the person receiving a 3, which again is a very good rating.
Well, yeah, we did. We got a lot of feedback about how people were somehow thinking that 3 was not a good performer, and I guess the real message is that you are. If you are rated effective a 3, you are performing.
You're
your
meeting
job
your
quite
goals.
well.
You're demonstrating behaviors to reinforce the competencies.
You are considered a great performer at the University of Virginia if you are effective.
Right.
And I would just like to say, even though 3 is kind of in the middle of the 5-point scale.
Yeah, which was part of the confusion.
It was, yeah. 3, we don't think of 3 as average. You know, 3 is someone who turns up and does a good job for the university.
Absolutely. So let's go back to 1. 1 is usually fairly clear, and if someone's going to be getting 1, typically they will have many conversations related to improvements needed in performance.
Yes.
2 is inconsistent. I think even that might merit a little bit of conversation, because inconsistent might mean a number of things, correct? I mean, it may be somebody that's fairly new in a position who's really still transitioning into the role, isn't that correct?
Yeah, that's true. It's very true. So employees could be taking on additional responsibilities and learning a lot more in their position as they go. So they could be demonstrating inconsistent performance, right? They may be knocking some of those out of the ballpark and others kind of struggling with because it's new. It's not because they're performing badly. It's just that they're taking on additional roles and responsibilities.
And they may be growing into that role and just may require some more time and focus. And it also may mean, right, Sue, that maybe somebody's going the other direction as well.
Correct. You could have a performer who may have things happening that you may or may not know about that are things that are affecting how well they're able to perform. And remember, a lot of times what we're talking about is on a goal level. It may not be an overall level, maybe on a goal level even. Where there are things that you don't have any control over necessarily, and just for whatever reason you are inconsistent. And the word is inconsistent.
Right.
It's not meant to say that you're not doing a good job. It's just meant to say that the performance is not
it's not where we want it to be, and you want to have that conversation with the manager as you have had the whole year. But this is sort of the formal one.
Speaking on the employee level, I mean, how many employees would ever not want to know? That they are in some way, not performing at the desired result with their manager. So it's better to say than not to say.
It is, and I think it's a great opportunity for the manager to communicate their expectations or how the employee could improve to really help the employee. I mean, we want our employees to succeed. So we would like to see inconsistent performance turn into effective performance.
That's right. That's the goal. And so having that conversation can have an action plan of some sort to get you to that point.
That's right.
Now, ratings are applied for each goal.
Correct.
And each competency, and then an overall rating applied as well. So there's an opportunity really to look specifically at goals in terms of where it fits on that spectrum, individually at competencies, and that hopefully, because we have competencies and goals established, would help a manager then translate that into an overall rating, correct?
That's correct. And even though goals are 50% of the evaluation and competencies are 50% of the evaluation, it could be the case that a particular goal or goals are so important that year that the manager decides.
Provides a little extra focus on them.
That's correct. That's correct. So the manager actually does the final overall rating.
Great. It's not a systematic computation.
That's correct.
Excellent. And let's talk briefly about, because we haven't talked about the 4 and the 5, and they're important ratings as well. Highly effective and then exceptional. So how would you articulate those as certainly good options for managers to consider as well?
Sure. I think for a 4, this is someone who is often exceeding expectations, right? If a 3 is someone who who
Meets
meets
expectations.
them and is doing a fantastic job. The 4 is someone who often goes above and beyond that.
Okay, on a regular basis.
regular basis.
And then how about an exceptional, which would be 5, Sue?
Exceptional, I think, is usually the case where you've got somebody who is really priming the pump. I mean, they're really somebody who not just often exceeds, but practically 100% of the time. I mean, it's a lot, right?
So they're
that
just
person is
day in and day out exceeding the goals and the expectations.
It's really showing that they're above and beyond, the normal level of expectations for that job and
Okay.
performing at a very high level a
On a
large
regular
percentage
basis.
of the time. Yeah.
And it's probably acting as a role model for
I
other
would think so
That's
too. Role
true.
model is a very good way of putting that. That people are looking up to them, they're coming to that person for solutions, they're coming to that person, they're dependable and reliable. I mean, it's
Great.
those people stick out.
They
Those
do.
are the people that you see in the organizations that people like to call them superstars. I mean, those
Great.
are the people
That's
that
true.
really stick out. Yeah.
So there are tools available. Obviously, we'd encourage all employees to talk with their supervisors about the ratings ahead of time in an ongoing way. But also, there's definitions of each of the ratings for the goals and for the competencies. And then for the competencies, there's some helpful tools as well.
There are actually behaviors,
Right.
4 to 6 behaviors per competency on the 1, 3, and 5 scales. So, and managing
Specific behaviors so that you
Specific
can get a
behaviors.
sense of things to focus on as you go throughout your year.
Yeah, and our hope is that it takes some of the subjectivity out of evaluation, right? Because you
Yeah.
can actually point to a behavior and say, this is what you need to do in order to achieve
Right.
X, okay? So,
Great.
and obviously, a 2 or a 4, a 2 is going to be a combination of the 1 and 3 behaviors,
Of
going to see a
course.
bit of both,
And same
and the
for
4 is
for
the same.
3 to 5.
That's correct.
And last thing, a career development plan, not evaluated at all.
No,
Not
it's
evaluated.
Part of the
Not
conversation, important component, should have learning activities, development activities, career-related activities, but it is not part of the equation at
That's
all.
correct.
Great. Ratings and evaluation.